Hey special family, welcome back to another video. Today's video is from 11alive.com and the title is I Don't Want to Hurt Nobody. Woman with Autism Confronted by Police. How police officers handle an escalating situation caused by a mental health crisis can make a big difference in the outcome. Kayleigh's story may explain why. So this is a topic that we usually have, so let's see what happened in this situation.
Watching an officer's body camera video. That is Kayleigh refusing to leave a gas station parking lot.
How was Jeff? And it was not good.
But knowing she does not want to go to jail doesn't seem to stop her behavior. She has spent time in 3 county jails in 2 years for offenses related to disorderly conduct.
When I'm mad, I'm not gonna be quiet. You're not gonna silence me.
Kayleigh has autism, developmental disabilities, and behavioral problems due to a lifetime of trauma. The world's rules on how to act don't come naturally. And her mom says until now, many of the therapies that could have helped have been denied by Medicaid.
It's truly unfair for these children not to be able to access services that they need.
Child welfare advocates say they see it over and over again.
The criminal justice system. We see that a lot with children who are in juvenile justice because they're not getting the supports that they need.
The Department of Juvenile Justice says it's treating 60% of the children in custody for some type of mental health disorder. Top diagnoses: PTSD and ADHD. Almost identical to the top diagnoses we found in the children abandoned to state custody.
Okay, I can get it myself.
But when Kayleigh's outbursts started leading to arrests, she was too old for DJJ.
Uh-oh.
And that's why we were able to obtain these. Body camera video showing 2 different calls to Newton County's 911 with 2 very different outcomes. We timed each response.
I think that's what it might be.
In this incident last year, the officer seemed at a loss when Kayleigh refused to answer her questions.
Where are you from?
She even pushed her mom away.
How many times did your hands on my face?
She begged everyone to stop touching her.
Don't talk to me, bro.
The body camera clips are broken, but the timestamp indicates that within 10 minutes of the officer's arrival, Kayleigh was in handcuffs.
Oh my God.
I want to talk to you. I don't know what's going on.
Let's reset the clock and compare that to this response a year later. Kayleigh has run away in the middle of the night, upset about the anniversary of her father's death.
I don't want to have my dad, so I don't give a if I die. Now please leave me the alone.
In this case, Newton County Corporal Jathan Negroski arrived on scene with 2 other officers,
Oh wow.
all with crisis intervention training.
Most times when they're talking, they're telling you things
What's
that
going
will
on.
trigger them or, may escalate the situation. So you really have to pick up on that. 37.
Did you see how the officer, he noticed right away? You can tell that he has training because he says most of the time they will tell you what triggers them. They might not say it in the most respectful way because these are verbal, and yeah, they may have autism, but they don't like when you use the word high functioning, but I'm trying to explain it without using the word high functioning, which I can't really do. But they're very verbal, vocal. They can tell you what to do, what not to do. And she's been doing that the whole time. Now, when she has an episode, she doesn't really know how to control it. And in the first situation, the officer has no training, and he just bombards her with the ways he would do it with a neurotypical person. But the officers with training, their approach is totally different. So if we keep looking at it, the approach is totally different.
Triggers like bright lights of a car or getting too close. CIT is an intense, week-long course for officers that, on this night, help Kayleigh calm down, allowing her to think about her actions.
I don't want to hurt anybody.
You're okay, Kayleigh.
No, I'm trying to find my info because I'm trying to write.
See?
And finally accept her emotions. De-escalation took longer. Corporal Nagroski calmly tried to connect with Kayleigh for 22 minutes, but overall, it saved time and trauma.
It's not the stuff.
There was no drive to the jail, no charges to clog our courts. Was this a situation where she needed to be arrested?
So, not everybody
Not
with mental health
necessarily.
needs to be arrested.
In each case, Kayleigh's tears show that for children with complicated mental and behavioral needs, time behind bars won't change their struggle.
No, it
Have
wouldn't.
you reached out to NAMI?
Deputy Nagroski says they're given a list of resources to share with families. Because CIT isn't just about keeping those experiencing a crisis out of jail.
When it goes right and everybody leaves and everybody's safe and that information.
That's a good
passed
day.
along, It does feel good.
But sometimes
Yeah.
you can't help but worry or wonder.
You always wonder
Always.
because you never know.
Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know anymore.
You know, the next time they have an episode, is it going to go the same way?
So, all right, let's talk about this. How do I pause this thing? Okay, so let's read what they have here. You can learn a lot by watching an officer's body camera video. We wanted to know what happened in 2019 when Kayleigh, an 18-year-old with autism, ended up in a Newton County jail after refusing to leave a gas station parking lot. That's here in Georgia. Sitting on a park bench months later, I asked Kayleigh how was jail. Her response was simple: it was not good. But knowing she doesn't want to go to jail doesn't seem to stop Kayleigh's behavior. She spent time in 3 county jails in 2 years for offenses related to disorderly conduct. So imagine your autistic child is a teenager. He has a meltdown in a public place. That's considered disorderly conduct. You see why the police training is necessary? It doesn't have to be if they understand what the meltdown is and that the person doesn't have any control over their feelings or behavior at that point. When I'm mad, I'm not going to be quiet. You're not going to silence me, Kayleigh said. The past few months have been moved by Kayleigh's stories as we've tried to explain the gasp in our behavioral and mental health system, leading some parents to abandon their children to state custody. Kayleigh has autism, developmental disability, and behavioral problems that make it impossible for her to live alone and be vulnerable to predators. The world rules on how to behave don't come naturally, and her mom says until now, therapies that could help have been denied by Medicaid. There are a lot of therapies that Medicaid in some states will not give, and unfortunately, our kids are the ones who suffer from it. It's truly unfair for these children, her mom Christina Henry said. As a result, Kayleigh has a tendency to run away on the streets. She's been the victim of sexual exploitation and rape. She's been homeless and she has come into contact with police again and again. So due to her mental state, she's been exploited and raped. Oh my God, sexually exploited. And she's in peace. According to an open record request with the Department of Family and Children Services of the children abandoned in the past 5 years, 42% of those that left care returned to a parent or family member. 6% were no longer tracked because they ran away. Another 3% ended up in youth detention or jail. There are no statistics to track what happened to the children with the same behavioral challenges, but their family finds ways to keep them at home. What we do know is that the Department of Juvenile Justice says it's treating 60% of children in its custody for some type of mental health disorder. The percent increases to 77% when you look at the youths in custody for the most serious offenses. The top diagnosis, PTSD and ADHD, almost identical to the top diagnosis we found in children abandoned to state custody. Children welfare advocate Susan Geico, an attorney who leads the Disability Integration Project in Atlanta, Legal Aid, sees it every day. They ended up in the criminal justice system. We see that a lot with the kids who are in juvenile justice because they are not getting the support that they need, Geico said. When Kayleigh outburst started leading to arrest, she was too old for DJJ. That's why we were able to obtain body camera video showing 2 different calls to Newton County 911 with 2 very different outcomes. In the first incident, Kayleigh was seen pacing in a gas station parking lot. In the video, you can hear a witness ask the officer, "Is it a mental problem?" Yeah, I could clearly see at that point it was a mental problem. The officer responded, "I think it might be." The officer tried several times to talk with Kayleigh, but each time, Kayleigh refused to give her name, hurling insults at times instead. In time of panic, usually what they do is insult you just to get you away from them. When her mom arrived, she denied the relationship and pushed her away. That's when another officer decided the situation had gone on long enough. As he approached to put her in handcuffs, she repeatedly yelled, "Don't touch me." I don't know no child with autism who like to be touched, so that's one of their coping mechanisms. The more he touched her, the more upset she became, definitely. When they have no training, they don't know that. The body cam clips are broken, but the timestamps indicates that within 10 minutes of the officer's arrival, Kayleigh was in handcuffs. Kayleigh was then booked in jail where she remained for 3 weeks. The second response came a year later. Kayleigh had run away in the middle of the night, upset about the anniversary of her father's death. "I don't have my dad, so I don't care if I die," Kayleigh said, as heard in the body cam footage. In this case, Newton County Corporal Jonathan Nagrotsky arrives on scene with 2 other officers, all with crisis intervention training. I hope they use this crisis intervention training for everywhere in the US because it can save. It takes longer, I get that, but you don't have to take anybody to jail. You don't have to do booking, and you can help the person calm down. It makes the situation less worse. Most times they're telling you things that will trigger them or may escalate the situation. So you have to really pick up on that, CPL Nagrotsky said. Triggers like the bright lights of a car or getting too close. Again, in this case, you hear Kayleigh repeatedly tell the officers to keep their distance and not to touch her. CIT is an intensive week-long course for police, and on this night, the training helped the officers to calm Kayleigh down, allowing her to think about her actions and finally accept her emotions. "I don't want to hurt nobody. I'm trying to fight my impulse to run," she told CPL Nagrotsky, before falling to the ground in tears. De-escalation took longer. Nagrotsky calmly tried to connect with Kayleigh for 22 minutes. But ultimately, it saved time. There was no drive to the jail, no inmate to watch, and no charges to clog our courts. CPL Nagrotsky said he appreciates the opportunity to share community resources with families that may not have known places to go for help. "We want to get them help because going to jail isn't going to give them support or help. It's going to further the problem," he said. It's one reason why the Newton County Sheriff's Office decides to mandate the training for all of its deputy sheriffs, uniformed patrol deputies, and school resources officers in 2020. The department is also trying to put together a dedicated CIT team to respond to calls they know are mental health related. According to the Georgia Public Safety Training Center, 7,565 officers have received the training in the past 5 years. COVID-19 slowed the progression, but the data indicated registration are starting to pick back up. Let's hope they use this training because we as special need parents will feel a lot better if we know that this training is used. I wanted to share this story with you guys to show you that if our police officers were trained and more of them use this training, how the outcome can be different. You've seen 2 different scenarios, 1 year apart, and one where the training was used and one where the training was not used. And we as special need parents can benefit from the second part of the video because knowing that the police officer can distinct, or when you tell them that your child is special need, their approach become different and they have a response team that helps them out, means a lot to me. I know that for a fact. But comment down below and let me know what you think about this situation, and if you've ever encountered police officers that have done the training and helped you out in a situation by using the things that they've learned in the training. All right, catch you in the next video. Bye.